Ramzi, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you, Antoine, for having me. Actually,
Ramzi, you graduated in graphic design in 2019, and almost 2 years ago, you decided to start your own company. Can you tell
yeah,
us a bit about your professional journey from the moment you graduated up until the moment you decided to start your own company?
absolutely. It's actually like as soon as I graduated, get a job, the normal. You finish school, you go get a job, which I did, and then the Corona happened 6 months after I had my job. So at that time, I had to pivot. I had to I started doing any project, whatever I can do. I even opened like a agricultural project for a while with a friend of mine. He had the experience. I had some money saved. We tried that. We failed. It didn't work out well, but it was a good experience. After a while, I decided to come to Canada. Since I was born here in Canada, and I have the passport, but I've never been here. So I decided to come here, and during that time, during the Corona time, I decided I have to find something else, and I started getting into business. And I was looking at business school. Honestly, I was like going to school, finding a school to apply to, like a university to go into business. Because like design for me at the time, I'm like I wanted something else.
So
Uh,
Ramzi, your first time coming to Canada was right in the middle of COVID?
After that's why I had to wait during COVID. I have had to wait till I can be so I can make it here.
Okay.
Because like there was a lot of restrictions at the time, and I decided
Yeah.
to wait a little bit. So it was after the vaccine that I actually came. It was in 2021, I believe. I came here.
Okay.
In the end, yeah. So I've almost been 3 years here, three and a half probably. Yeah, so at that time, like I started getting, I didn't go to business, I didn't end up going to business school, but I started reading like books, videos, whatever, just educating myself. Even when I came to Canada, I had the plan. I'm like, I'm gonna open a business. What? I have no idea. What I'm gonna do, I have no idea. It's just I want to open a business. That's it. That was my entire plan at the time.
But
Over
it sounds
time,
it sounds like a pattern because when you graduated, you did try a business with your friend, and
yeah,
then coming to Canada, you also wanted to try to start your own business.
yeah.
So did you always want to have your own business? Did you know that you were going to start something of your own?
Not really. When I was younger, no. It's like all you hear about: go to school, do get good grades, get a job. That's it. Otherwise, I had no other plans. Um,
I'm glad you say that because a lot of us that were raised, with the Middle Eastern mentality, it was more like
exactly.
becoming an engineer, a doctor, or an architect, but no one really talked about entrepreneurship like they do today. Today, everyone wants their own business. So
Yeah.
that's why I was curious about this. So carry on. So you came here, you got settled, and then how did you decide to start MidSpot?
Actually, like because I when I came here, obviously I came. I had nothing. I had no money. Like I came with $1,000. That's it. So I had to get a job. That was the first thing. I found a job similar to what I do in design, but it was technically a sign company, which I never did before. It was social media before that. I used to do the graphic design for social media. So I ended up working in a small company that does signage, printing, all that stuff. And with my experience in design, it helped, although I did everything basically, like from production, because it was a small company, they didn't need a full-time graphic designer. But my skill as a design helped out. So I ended up working over there, which I didn't want to, honestly. I wanted to get out of the industry. But over time, I liked it. I became very good at it. I became very fast. And over time, I also became the manager at that company. Like we grew, like I was the first employee. It was the father and the son. and we grew to like over the next year and a half or 7, 8 employees, and I became the manager.
Wow. That's very
Yeah,
quick growth. Crazy.
yeah.
How did you even get that job? Was it like some kind of connection? Did you just look around? How did you end up getting this job?
It was through a connection, actually. Yes, it was a friend of mine. He actually a friend of my dad. He was here, and he's like, "I can introduce you to this guy. He has a business. Maybe it's gonna work out," and it did. Um, yeah, so it's I did that job for a while. After, like, honestly, when I started the job, I wanted to quit immediately. I didn't want to do it. I was like, 3 months, I'll leave. That's it. Ended up staying for a year and a half, probably 2 years. But the reason I ended up staying after like 6 or 7 months, I'm like, you know what? I'm gaining experience. I started to like it. Let's keep it going for a while, and maybe I'll decide to do
Mhm.
this. And by the way, in this time, I was still researching what business can I open. Like, sure, I had a full-time job, but I was still researching what business can I do. Every single day, I'll go back home. I'll read a book, learn a little bit about business, write a few plans, just anything really.
What about the cost of like leaving a job that you love, the
Mm,
people that, that gave you this opportunity, but then you thought you wanted to outgrow this and start
yeah.
something of your own? Does it take like an emotional toll on you? Like, how did this work? How did you go through this?
It was like, honestly, it was a hard decision, but I did things a bit safe, honestly, in the sense of like, even when I had the job, I started getting like my first client on the side, kind of like as a freelancer, but I wasn't introducing myself as a freelancer. That wasn't the main pivot for me. It's like, don't introduce yourself as a freelancer, no, introduce yourself as a business. And that's what I did. I got my first client, then second while I was still at the job. Over time, it kind of grew, but I was still outsourcing most of the, like, I didn't have a space to work even. Like everything was, I was making a small commission. For me, it was getting a base, like a baseline. That's it.
But
That was
Ramzi,
the
if
plan.
I can stop you there, why did you
Yeah.
say it was important to introduce yourself as a business, not as a freelancer? Do you think it's the perception?
It's the perception. Yes, I think it's about because when you go, I'm a freelancer. Sometimes some clients they're gonna work with you if you're a freelancer, obviously, but maybe it's gonna be price like are your prices too high for a freelancer? Maybe it's gonna
Mm,
be I don't trust a freelancer. He works alone. I prefer a business. I prefer different employees working together. Um, I'm not sure the exact reason, to be honest, but I think that that really helped out. Like
yeah.
introducing myself as a business, even from my end, not even from the client's end.
Mm,
From me personally, it's like I'm a business. I'm not a freelancer. I'm gonna grow it into a business. Like I'm gonna treat this as a business. Like everything I'm doing, from accounting to paying myself to me being an employee in my business at the beginning. Sure, I wasn't paying myself, but it was like I'm taking the money. I'm like, okay, I work 10 hours on this job. I'm gonna put this money aside as a employee payment, but it wasn't.
interesting.
As a
Interesting.
freelancer, you're gonna treat it as whatever money is left, it's for me.
Mm,
That's the thing.
yeah.
Like, so
So,
I
so you had
think
the
that,
plan of becoming a business from the beginning. You knew that
yes,
you weren't going to grow
yeah.
this. Okay.
I think it's more not about the client, more about yourself, more about
Mm,
what you want. If you introduce yourself as a freelancer, you're probably always going to be a freelancer. If you introduce yourself as a business, you're planning to make it as a business. Sure, you're
mm,
alone, you're actually a freelancer, but it's like the plan over time to actually become an actual business.
mm. And how
Yeah,
long did this period last between like having your own thing on the side and then still working? How long did that period last?
almost a year actually,
Okay,
a
wow.
year, a
So you
full
really
year.
took your
Yeah,
time before
yeah.
jumping. Okay.
It took
Okay.
some time because, but what I did is like over time, oh, after 6 months, I quit the job that I had and I took another job. Basically, the reason was because I had so much responsibility at that job, and it's a high pay. I used to get like he increased my salary a lot because I
Mm,
have high responsibility, but it became I wasn't like I was focusing on the business, and I finish, it's just too much. And then
Mm.
it's like everything is on me for that business. So it's like, you know what, I have to take a chance. But at that point, I still didn't have a lot of clients. I can't support myself. So I had two options: either go into debt, basically, and risk it, which I was about to do. But then I found another company that gave me flexibility.
Mm.
So I would go in and finish the jobs that I have and leave. So in the middle of the day, it's like 9, 10 a.m., sometimes 12 p.m. If I have something, I would leave, go see a client, do a job, come back. It was still hard, like I was working all the time, but at that point, I still couldn't support myself and I didn't want to go into too much debt, honestly. I still like, for me in the beginning, it was about a proof of concept.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And honestly, like I quit my job completely 5, 6 months ago. That's it. Not too long.
Wow.
Yeah. At that point, I'm like, I started getting a lot of jobs and I was still afraid, to be honest, because it's like we're coming into winter and then it's like winter is usually kind of dead. But I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time to actually take full risk and just go for
So
it.
let's put some context into this. Tell us exactly about the services that you provide.
So basically, what I provide is like well, first of all, my clients are the business owners, like brick and mortar stores, actual physical locations. What I do is like signages, like storefront signages, window graphics. Even now, I started to do vehicle wraps as well, but especially for commercial. Like
Mm.
everything is commercial. So it's about commercial visibility for me. So kind of like advertising, but in the physical sense. So it's like
Mm-mm.
catching the eyeballs on the road, basically.
Okay, interesting. And are there any like regulations or like laws that you have to be wary of? Because I assume, I don't know anything about that business, but I
Yeah.
assume that you can't do anything you want. So how
Mm,
does that work? Is that difficult?
exactly. It is. Honestly, I struggled with that a lot. Especially here in Quebec, they have a lot of rules, a lot of regulations you have to, especially with the city. Everything you do, we have to take approval from the city, and sometimes that takes months, like 2, 3 months, depending on the city. Like Laval takes sometimes we waited 3, 4 months to get an approval. Other the municipalities, it's like a month, approximately month and a half. That's the
Mm.
average. So we give the proposal to the client. Once the client approves the proposal, we have to go to the city. And once we go to the city, they have to approve it. Once they approve it, we have to get a permit to do the job, especially if it's outside. Sometimes, if it's a big job, if it's in the middle of the street, we have to block the street, also get another permit, and block the streets, and then do the job.
Wow.
It's
So
yeah,
how long do you think it takes from the moment a client contacts you up until the signage
yeah.
is done and completed? Does it depend like a lot,
It
or do you
depends
have a
on
time
how
frame?
big the job is. Yes, it depends on how big the job is, but it's usually that's between 2 weeks and 2 months. Let's say an average of 1 month, usually an
Mm.
average. Sometimes it
Okay.
takes more, sometimes less. It's if it's a small job, then it's usually depends. Also, it depends on how much workload we have. So if we have a lot, usually it takes like around 2 weeks for us to do the job. Like once we get
Mm.
the approval, it's like I'll give the client between a week and 3 weeks. Some like now I'm trying to work on the delivery time, make it faster rather than because most companies what they do is like between 2 weeks and a month and a half sometimes, depending on
Mm.
the complexity of the project. So I'm trying to lower that time as much as possible, honestly.
Mm. So what
Like
do you
if
think
you
has been the most challenging part so far? Because it's still fresh. And again, congratulations on going full
thank
time.
you.
I know it's such a big deal
Yeah.
and I'm very happy for you. So what has been like the most challenging thing to deal with?
Um, it's just I think for me personally, it's not one thing. Honestly, it's everything is changed because in the sense of like I have to learn how to do marketing. I have to learn how to, especially in the beginning, how to do the accounting, how to like talking to clients, getting clients, closing the client, like all that stuff. It's new for me. I don't have any experience in selling. I don't have any experience. Like, sure, my experience as in managing the other company helped out a lot, but it's still not enough as a businesswoman. Like, because you have to know how to budget things out. Now I started to have an employee as well. Like, I have a full-time employee, and I hired someone per job, and I'm looking to hire someone else now. So it's like how to navigate and how to actually work that time management properly is the challenge for me personally.
Yeah, I really like how you framed it, is because at some point you were an employee, you had a very specific job.
Yeah,
Now your job is to be an accountant, a
yeah,
salesman, a marketing person,
yeah.
like someone who actually does the job, someone who can handle employees. There's so many different roles and hats that you have to put on today. Do you see this as
Absolutely.
a like an, are you excited about this? Or is it like,
Yeah.
are you afraid of what's coming next? So how do you feel about all this?
Honestly, not afraid. I'm excited. For me, it's not about like the fear kind of drives me, but it's not fear anymore. Now at this stage, for me, like once I quit and just doing it full time, I'm actually more excited. I became kind of like this strive to actually make it work. Now I'm like throwing everything I have, and I know I will. It's not fear for me. It's actually more excitement and hope.
Mm,
Because once you get like put your foot on the ground, it's kind of like you feel like you started to take the first step to actually go to the second, third, and fourth. So I think the decision in the beginning to take step one is the one of the hardest thing you can
mm.
do, in my experience.
And and where do you want to see this go? Do you have like a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year plan, or have you, or do you not
Yeah.
have the time to think about all this right now?
I'm working on it. I don't have a specific. It's kind of like, okay, I have a plan to go to actually grow it into a 20 employee company, let's say, or if you want to give it a number, $5 million company or $1 million. There is a plan for that. But the actual steps to grow it from zero to 100,000 to a million to 5 million, that's you cannot know all that at the time since you don't have any experience in actually bringing it to that stage. So for me, at the moment, all I'm thinking about, okay, I'm at in the beginning, it was my first sale. My goal was get one sale, one client. That's it. First client. Okay, then how can I grow that? How can I get more clients? Got more clients. Okay, step two. How can I grow that into the first $100,000 per year? Done that. After that, now it's going to be how I'm going to scale it from $100,000 to a million. Again, I have no idea. It's like,
Yeah.
for me, it's about experimenting, uh, baby steps. Uh, do one thing, it works out, amazing. It doesn't work out, try something else.
Mm.
That's my entire plan, to be honest, at the moment. Since I don't have like a guide. I don't have mentor. I don't have all that stuff. So it's like I'm figuring out everything on my own.
I was just
And
about to ask. I was just about to ask, like, do you
yeah,
have someone helping you out with this? Do you have a mentor, a coach, someone who's done it before? Uh, like,
yeah,
have you tried reaching out to people who, you might need some help with? Let's talk about, for example,
yeah,
the marketing side of things. Do you
yes,
think it would be helpful to talk to someone, just ask for advice? Because I'm sure a lot of people
yeah,
would be willing to help. Have you tried
absolutely.
this approach?
I did for the marketing part. I actually took advice. I met this guy. He teaches marketing and this sort of thing. And I took a bit of his advice, especially that now I started running Google Ads. I'm like, I'm gonna try Google Ads, see how it goes. I actually started running it, and then I took his advice.
Mm,
Now we're trying to improve it. Now I'm talking to him to actually improve these ads. but the results actually are better than I thought it's going to be, especially in my first month. Obviously, I started with a small budget, um, and it actually turned out better than I expected, like return on investment. So now it's like, okay, how can I improve it, and how can
Mm,
I grow that into increase the budget, and how can I improve the ROI? Basically,
mm.
that's the
Uh,
plan now. So it's
no,
like my marketing side, I'm still working on
mhm,
that, but it's most of my jobs at the moment are word of mouth. So that's the
mm,
biggest work for us. It's like ever since I started my first client, all of them, it's like they recommended me. He does a great job. Every time he's on time. They like the quality of products that I provide. And in that sense, I started getting more and more clients. But it's like at this stage, I have to focus more on marketing, and then the word of mouth can be the second. Like obviously, it's the word of mouth is the cheapest and best way to get clients, but I believe it's like um, it's a better option to speed things up because that takes time. So if you do marketing, you're gonna get more clients, and from those clients, you're gonna get more clients. It's like it's
yeah. And how, Ramzi, how about the competition analysis? Like, how do you look at this? Did you look at the market and say, okay, there might be other people doing similar things,
yeah.
but I want to do something different? Like, do you feel like you're trying to build a competitive advantage?
I am honestly, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to kind of innovate.
Hmm.
That's the main thing for me. It's like how can I innovate in this industry, which is like all it's traditional. Most of the stuff is basically the same. So how can I innovate? So I'm still working on that part. I don't have an answer for that yet. But for me at the moment, like the most thing that I see the clients they care about, it's like um, can you provide a good service, a fast service, and are you flexible with are you flexible with the client? Like the moment that they reach out to you, how fast can you send the estimation? Because sometimes companies take 5, 6 days to actually send you an estimation. So sometimes I try to do it like as fast as possible, same day or within a few hours from talking to the client. How fast can I deliver on the project? So it's at the moment I'm trying to focus more on service and price, like the balance between the because these things are extremely expensive. So most companies that it's like in the industry, you have either the big company who provides amazing service, quality, all that stuff, but it's way too expensive. Like the
Mm,
prices are insane. And then there's the cheap companies that like maybe he's working on his own, he don't have any employees, so he can be cheap. But most of the time, the quality there's no guarantees, basically. So I'm trying to find a balance between the two in the sense of my main focus is quality and service. That's the most important part for me. And it's like price, especially now the economy is bad, and not a lot of people are actually opening as much. Or it's we don't know yet, to be honest. We don't know what's happening, but prices are going to increase. That's the one thing that we do know.
mm,
Even like for us now, I have a decision to make. Prices are going to increase for me. Like the raw materials that I buy are going to go higher. So how can we work on the pricing on that? Can I keep it the same? Can I increase it slightly and eat that and reduce my profit margin? That's the decision I haven't made yet. But especially now, it's like I noticed that a lot of clients they care about the price more than quality now.
mm,
That's the thing. Like before, a few years back, it's like uh, a lot of them, sure, there's always clients that care about the price, but in general, it's a lot of them I noticed they don't, it's not the price issue most of the time. It's like even today, like I had a client, just as an example, I had a client reach out to me and I gave them a price. I took the job, and I discovered after the month, I was talking to my old boss actually. We're still friends. We talk. We
Yeah.
still collaborate sometimes. So so I'm talking to him, and I was telling him about this project, and turns out that the same client talked to him. Obviously, they sometimes like they reach out to different companies. So he's asking me like how much, what was the price? It was a small project, probably like $2,000 worth, and turns out he gave her 1,700 or 1,600. I'm not, I can't remember exactly. Like he
Yeah.
gave her lower price. So I gave her slightly higher. And in this case, it's like, he's like, how did you get the job? It's like he was surprised that he works cheap, 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 like go as low as possible. That's the
Mm.
way he works. So it's like for me, I evaluated the project. I gave her a price, and I was immediately as soon as she contacted me, I talked to her immediately.
Mm.
She felt comfortable. That's my analyzation at least. She felt comfortable, and she thought that I might actually deliver on the
Mm.
project. That's sometimes bigger companies, they care about actual delivery, not
Yeah.
sometimes it's not just about the price. So for him till this day, he comes to me and says like, how did she take it? Like
Mm.
sometimes, how did she give you the project? I gave her cheap.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not just about cheap. It's about delivery. How well can you deliver? Until
Mm.
this day, like we worked a few different projects together with the same client.
Mm.
So that's the part that I try to focus on.
That's actually interesting because you're saying that newcomers in the market can focus on, they have less bureaucracy. You have less employees. You
Absolutely.
have less middle management. So
Mhm.
you can take decisions very quickly. And this is kind of your competitive advantage today. So
Yeah,
though you might be a bit pricier than someone else, people would still come to you because you're very efficient and you get
yeah,
things done quickly.
absolutely.
That's interesting. And Ramzi, I want to close with this about the situation in Canada and in Quebec and Montreal. So you talked about your raw material getting slightly more expensive. You
Yeah.
talked about the winter season being a bit rough. So how do you overcome all of these challenges? And what's your perspective of what's coming next, specifically for
Mm.
the region, for your business, and for
Yeah,
businesses? Because if less businesses start opening,
yeah.
then and people are willing to pay less, then
Mm.
it's going to be tough for a lot of people. So how do you prepare for this?
Honestly, like I'm studying the market now. I'm trying to look at the curves, what's gonna happen, and the way I see it now, sure, maybe less. And but the thing is, it's like most of the clients I noticed today, um, like I think as a smaller company in the beginning, now I have a bigger opportunity in the sense of like bigger companies, they have way too much expenses.
Mm.
And my perspective, because I'm small, I have some expenses, but I am I am able to bring a competitive edge price wise as well, and not compromise on quality at the same time. Um, so it's about, for me at the moment, the beginning, it's about actually getting more clients. It's about building my name. That's the main goal for me at the moment. The bigger companies in my like competitors, they already have a name. They
Mm.
don't need to do that. So I think I have an opportunity in the sense of, okay, a lot of people now they have a certain budget. So what I'm trying to do now is like, okay, you some of the clients now they give me the budget, and I'm like, I have three options. Option one, option two, option three. This is gonna
Hmm.
cost this. This is gonna cost this. This is gonna cost this. So it
Hmm.
depends on your budget. We can work things out. And I personally, I don't like to push. It's like these are the three options. In the end, you're the business owner as well. You know your budget. You're gonna decide what's best for you in the sense of, okay, I want this look or that look. I want it with light, without light. So all these obviously are going to be difference in price.
Mm.
So I think, especially
So
now, bad
trying to build
economy.
your brand. You're really trying to grow your brand. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. For me now, it's about the brand. It's not about
Okay.
it's and obviously like money wise, it's important.
Yeah.
I cannot lose money. I still have to make a profit.
Mm.
But I think there's a balance in that at the moment.
Yeah. Because like you said earlier, like word of mouth is critical. And if people, you treat them fairly and treat them well, give them a good product, this will get you more customers than, than pushing and trying these
Yeah,
more aggressive methodologies. So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
want I want to I want to ask you something. As someone who moved to Canada with not a lot of money and didn't know where to start,
Mhm,
got a job, and ended up starting his own business, what would be your advice to people in the same position you were 5 years ago, who are just
mhm,
getting started and don't know what to do and maybe want to start their own business? What would be
mhm,
your advice to them, or maybe to a younger self, a
mhm.
younger you?
I think there's always going to be a risk, whatever decision you make. But for me, I like before, like I always give this advice. My personality, it's risk taker. I Since I was a kid, I jump. I don't care. It's like whatever happens. I'll just get back on my feet. I've always been this way. So my advice to myself, it took time for me to figure that out. So what I did before I opened my business, I took the safe side. So I kind of went opposite of my natural instinct in the sense of, okay, I'm going to slow things down rather than go fast because I always go fast. That's me. So instead of me throwing everything in and actually falling, I decided to take my time. So save some money. Like I worked 50, 60, 70 hours a week at a job just for me to save money in order to grow, like put 30, $40,000 on the side on minimum wage. By the way, like I was on minimum wage for the first year and a half,
Mm,
and I was able to save a lot of money from minimum wage because I worked 60, 70 hours a week and I did not go out as much. Like that's a sacrifice I had to make in the beginning in order for me to save. So in that sense, I took it a bit safe. So I always give this advice: if you're the opposite, if you don't like to take risks and you play it safe, no, take more risks. You know, it's for me it was the opposite. Take one step at a time because I did not want to crash.
mm,
Like at this stage I became to a point now I'm like, no, I have to speed things up slightly now because it's now it's for me it's about taking more risks. I already went
mm.
for it,
Mm.
so yeah, so that's basically it for me, I think.
Ramzi, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, brother.
I am honestly, I'm very happy to where you are today, and your story was quite inspiring. And I actually want to see where you will end up a year from now, because so much has changed for you in such
Yeah,
a short amount of time that I'm curious
yeah,
to seeing where you will be a year from now. And I hope we'll be able to have a discussion 1 year from today
absolutely.
and talk about
Yeah,
what has changed.
absolutely, I would love that. Actually, I'm excited to find out that as well, to be honest.
That's awesome. Leslie, thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
See you.